Hey everybody, I'd like to introduce you to a key component of computational thinking called patterns. For our warm-up activity today, we're going to look at a concept of using triangles to set up, to represent tables really. Okay, so these triangles represent tables that we need to set up for a party. And as you can see, the orange dots around the tables represent the people. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to take out a sheet of paper if you don't already have one, and start a similar sketch as I have here on the screen, and set up a chart on the right. So as we build up the number of tables, we want to know how many people we can fit around that table. Okay, so and as you do this, keep in mind that when you put two or more tables together, you're going to be the joining sides. You'll be losing space. Okay, but ultimately, what we want to do is we want to be able to say that whether we enter 50 people for your input or 100 people, we want to be able to determine what the output is going to be. So we're going to be introducing some of this vocabulary to you as well. And so as you can see, so if you have two tables, the number of people goes up to 4. Okay, and as we go up to 3 tables, the number of people there goes up to 5. And with 4 tables, as you can see, we have 6 people. 4 tables give you 6 people. Okay, so think about this now, and let's take a look start studying what patterns are you seeing as you build this out. Okay, because ultimately our goal here is to be thinking of, if I have a certain amount of people, how can I determine how many tables, right, that we need? So again, so that's your input and output. And so we want to be able to generate a rule. We want to be able to generate a rule or an algorithm so that any numbers that we put into this system will follow the same rules, with the same algorithm, right, to be able to give us a response that we need, okay, or the result or solution that we need. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we are adding one. We're adding 1 to each of the people here, right? So for each table, you're adding 1 person to the table. But now, the issue is here. How do we then determine, if you have 50 or 100 people, what our output is going to be? So this is what I want you to think about, is what kind of algorithm or rule that we can. So take a moment here to try to figure that out, okay? So before we get into a solution, let's again revisit our table, and where we have, the number of tables and the number of people that we're able to fit, and that I think you understand. And we have, thinking about looking at the pattern, so as you can see here, the 1 table, if you add 2 to that number, that gives you 3 people, which is your number. And that seems to be the same pattern or rule that is generated for each number of tables. Okay, so how do we then develop a formula? So if you look at this here, so it seems to be that if you have a number of people, if we start out with this 52 here that's circled, and if you take away 2, since you were adding 2 before, right? If you take away 2, that actually will give you the number of tables you need. So here we actually have come up with a solution, right, or a rule that will fit under any condition. So if somebody gives you any number of people, you'll be able to tell how many tables you're going to need if it's a triangular set of tables. Okay, what we're going to look at next is a different example for if you have a rectangular table. So take a pause here, and we're going to sort of come back with the example if you have a rectangular table. All right, so try to think about that.